Hello, and welcome to Big Orbit Games' opening of the Ancient Origin Trial decks. There are two this series, and there is the Stoneheart theme deck and the Iron Tide theme deck. My name is Tom, and I will be going through them. So I'll start with what, in my opinion, is the slightly weaker of the two, the Stoneheart theme deck, which is actually a... It's actually a grass and fighting type deck, so pretty cool. It comes with all of the usual things. It comes with your coin, it comes with your damage counters, and it comes with a 2-player playmat. So, this has got all of the rules on, as usual, tells you how to do your Confused and Paralysed, and features Metagross and Reggie Rock, which you might just be able to see. I'll turn it around. So there we go. So that's a useful guide if you're just learning the game, and rules are on the back as per usual. So you've got your damage counters with your burn and your poison, which will be useful in this, and all of your damage counters. So that's useful. The special coin features Groudon. And on the obverse there is the Pokemon logo, as usual. So, let's get into the actual contents of the deck. So, you also have your theme code there as well, which I think I've just shown you all, so whoops. So, in the deck, our face card, where's he gone? So, we've got Fighting Energy. Not the most exciting thing. So we start off with Vespiquen Porygon. I think this has already been shuffled. Odd. So, welcome back. Having overcome the surprise of the cards not being in a logical order, we've just gone through and sorted them so that it makes a bit more sense. So you get your holographic Reggie Rock, the face card of the set. So that is very nice. And then, when it is sorted into a slightly more logical order by yours truly, you get another copy of Reggie Rock, which makes 2 in the set. So this is the anti-EX card, actually quite useful. It has 60 damage plus 60 more damage if your opponent is an EX. So here you go. You get 1 copy of Virizion, with the very useful ability Bailout. You put 2 Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, which helps to sort of reuse your big hitters. Very nice. And prize count. If you have more prize cards left than your opponent, this attack does 80 more damage. So very strong attacker there. Very cheap for 2 energy as well. So the deck actually focuses on the grass side. So you have 1, 2, and 3 Combee to set up your Vespiquen. Combee is not great on its own, but Vespiquen has the ability of Bee Drain is a first attack, which is heal from this Pokemon the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon. And then you have Fury Swipes, which can do 30 damage times the number of heads. So it can do 0, can do 90. This is one of your bigger hitters in the deck, and serves as a sort of tank, because you can quite easily just heal damage back up. So 1 of that and 3 Combee. Then you have 1, 2, and 3 Spinarak to help set up your 2 Ariados. So the ability Poisonous Nest is very useful. Once during your turn, before your attack, you may use this ability. Both active Pokemon, except for Leaf-type Pokemon, are now poisoned. So Ariados can't be poisoned, and most of your deck is Leaf types. So actually a very useful card. And then stopping your opponent from retreating using your attack means that you can get quite an easy few points of poison damage on them. So, we then move on to the Oddish. You get 4 of these. This is your main evolutionary train. And then you get 3 copies of Gloom, Withdrawal as an ability. And then finishing off the evolutionary chain is one Vileplume with the very useful ability of Irritating Pollen, which means that each player cannot play any item cards from his or her hand, with a nice 70 damage Solar Beam to top it off. So a very disruptive card there. The deck's theme is very much disruption of your opponent's abilities, with Poisonous Nest and loads of paralysing effects, which can really mess up their day. Then you have a few Porygon. You get 4 basic Porygon, which let you check your deck using their first attack, and then shuffle your deck afterwards. This lets you find out what your prize cards are, which can be very useful. You get 2 Porygon 2, which has Sharpen for 20 damage and Try Attack for up to 90 damage. So similar to Vespiquen there. And that shows you all of the Pokemon. Then we can move on to the trainer cards. So you get Lucky Helmet, which is whenever the Pokemon this card is attached to is your active Pokemon and is damaged by an opponent's attack, draw 2 cards. So this works very nicely with Vespiquen. Vespiquen is designed to keep taking damage and keep healing back up. This can get you a lot of cards, so very useful there. Potion to heal 30 damage from one of your Pokemon, fairly standard there. Switch, which is very nice. You switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Having a free retreat, in effect, is always very useful, so very useful card to have. Level Ball. Level Ball searches your deck for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less, reveals it, and puts it into your hand. You shuffle your deck afterwards. Almost all of the Pokemon in this deck have got 90 HP or less, so Level Ball can effectively get any card that you need. The exception is Reggie Rock, which has got more. So Level Ball actually adds quite a lot of consistency to this deck. You get 1 copy of it, but it's a very useful card. You get 2 copies of Professor's Letter, which searches your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveals them, and you put them in your hand. You can shuffle your deck afterwards. So Professor's Letter has often been a staple in Pokemon. Getting 2 of it's really nice. There's nothing quite worse than getting stuck for energy and not being able to do anything, and Professor's Letter really helps counteract that. So you get 2 of that. Then you get 1 Healing Scarf as your last item. It's a Pokemon tool, so you can only have 1 of it attached to a Pokemon, unless they have Theta Double as an ability. And whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to the Pokemon this card is attached to, heal 20 damage from it. So, very useful actually. You can get quite a lot of healing from it as long as you attach it to a fairly tanky Pokemon. It has a nice combination with Vespiquen, once more. I don't have a Vespiquen obsession, I just think that she's actually a very good card. Where's she gone? Here she is. Who has got Theta Double. So this Pokemon may have up to 2 Pokemon tools attached to it. So an idea would be is that you can put your Lucky Helmet and your Healing Scarf on Vespiquen to keep drawing cards and also to keep healing her. So up to 40 a turn, which would make her quite an effective tank. So that's the idea. The items are fairly standard, pretty efficient. I personally like them. Nothing bad there. Then we get into our supporter cards. So we have the Pokemon Center Lady, who's a very strong heal, healing 60 damage and removing all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. Removing the special conditions is pretty useful in the event you accidentally poison your fighting type Reggie Rock using Ariados. So Pokemon Center Lady can help heal your Pokemon up and remove any annoying special conditions from them. Then you get your Pokemon Fan Club. You search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So you've got quite a few basic Pokemon in this deck. Pokemon Fan Club lets you search any 2 of them and helps the fact that you're running 3 or 4 evolutionary chains to be slightly more consistent. So Pokemon Fan Club is a good supporter for this. You then get one copy of Wally, which searches your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon, excluding Pokemon EX, and you put it onto one of your Pokemon. This counts as evolving it. Shuffle your deck afterwards. You can use this card during your first turn or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn. So you can use this to pretty quickly get up into higher evolutions. It's consistency because it searches it from the deck. So if you really need your Vespiquen evolve, if you really need your Combee to evolve, you can use this. You only got one copy of Vespiquen in the deck. So it's actually very good in the deck, and the tempo swing is not bad either. You have one copy of Ace Trainer, which you can only play if you have more prize cards left than your opponent, so if you're losing. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck, and then draw 6 cards. Your opponent draws 3 cards. So, helps you most when you're losing. Virizian's effect also combines very nicely with this for a more powerful attack. So, Ace Trainer actually suits the deck's theme well. And then you have a fairly standard double Tierno for the draw 3 card supporter, which again just helps the deck's consistency. So a nice selection of supporters there, which works really nicely with the deck. And then followed by a whole bunch of Grass Energy and 6 Fighting Energy for your Regirock. So primarily Grass themed for the Stone Heart theme deck, but quite interesting actually. And you get your little Groudon coin as well, which is nice. And then we have the Iron Tide deck with Metagross as your face card. So this is the Steel Water type, and is actually, in my opinion, slightly better out of the two. Not necessarily by much, but it's a very nice deck. So, hopefully this time I'll remember not to show you the prize card by accident. We've got the same mat as in the first one, so Regirock and Metagross. We have then got the damage counters, which are always useful. So you've got your burn and you've got your poison as well. So always helpful. We've got the what's new in the Pokemon trading card game, which is some information about how ancient traits work and special rules for Mega Evolution Pokemon, as well as a little card checklist, which is very helpful. Nice for collectors. And then, moving this off to the side, lest I accidentally show you the code, we've got the deck, which I presume will be unsorted like the first, so we'll have a slight cut. We've got the coin, which is Kyogre, perhaps unsurprisingly, but it's a nice little theme that you can have your Kyogre and your Groudon coins by getting these 2 sets. So, nice little coin. Then you've got your code card, which I better not show, and the holographic Metagross with the unique art that you get just from this set. So I'll talk about him when we open the pack. And then you have your prize card, which I have successfully managed to not show, I hope. So, let's have a look. So, it looks like, once more, it's not been sorted. So, we'll have a brief cut while I go and organise these. So, I have now finished organising the deck, the Iron Tide deck, and so let's have a look at what's inside it. I happen to know because I already opened it, but well. So, we have got 4 Beldum, which is used to help set up your Metagross. So, fairly basic card with a ram and spinning attack. So you get 4 of them. You get 2 copies of Metang with the Metal Claw and the Bullet Punch, which can do up to 90 damage for 3 energy, which is fairly respectable. It will kill most things in the other deck. So that's your stage 2. And then you get your 2 Metagross. One which is the pretty shiny one, and the other one which is not. But let's have a look at the pretty shiny one. So the ability Magnetic Warp is very good. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. If you do, your opponent switches his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her benched Pokemon. So that's really useful. It's actually very useful in conjunction with Iron Cannon, which requires 2 Steel Energy and 2 normal energy of any kind, which does 80 damage plus 80 more damage if you discard all Steel types. So you can use Metagross to do a huge 160 damage attack, switch it back out for free on another turn, and help set it up on the bench. So Metagross is very good. At stage 2, it's a little bit slow to get out, but it's very powerful when you do. So I very much like this Metagross. Then you get 2 copies of Magikarp with the Epic Splash, which can do 30 damage, but 1/4 of the time, well, actually half the time it won't. So there we go. That sets up your Gyarados with the Theta Double ability, which lets it have 2 Pokemon tools attached to it. So you can have full Retaliation for 2 colourless, which does 30 more damage for each damage counter on each of your benched Magikarp. Which in this deck, sadly, can't actually be that much, because you need to evolve Gyarados from one of them, and the other Magikarp can only have 2 damage counters on it before it dies. So maximum 90 damage in this deck. Thrash is a little bit more promising, with the 2 water energy and 2 colourless, which does 100 damage with a 50% chance of hurting Gyarados and a 50% chance of doing 130. So that's a very powerful attacker. We then get a Reggie Ice, which is my favourite of the Reggie cards from this set. Ice Beam has a 50% chance of paralysing your opponent. I always appreciate stopping the opponent from doing anything, and 30 damage isn't a lot, but given the fact that your opponent can't do very much, it's fairly significant. And Resistance Blizzard is very nice, 70 damage, and for 1 water and 2 double colourless, a double colourless, during your opponent's next turn, you prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX. So it's not very good against its counterpart deck, but against many competitive decks, Reggie Ice is very good. So I like Reggie Ice. You also get a copy of Reggie Steel, with the potential to do infinite damage with Iron Head, provided that you're extremely lucky. So you can do between 0 and infinite damage for 2 energy. So it does 30 damage times the number of heads. So most of the time this will do about 30 or 60 damage. Sometimes it will do nothing. Sometimes it will do 200 plus in a row. So that depends on how lucky you're feeling. Forbidden Iron Hammer is a lot more consistent. 70 damage for 3 energy. And if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, discard an energy attached to it. So more Pokemon EX hate. If you're playing against friends who are more established in the game, this is probably the better deck, because Pokemon EX can be very powerful, and having tools to defeat them is very useful. So that's nice. You get 2 copies of Relicanth with the Deep Sea Search, which allows you to search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon tool cards, reveal them, and put them in your hand. And then you shuffle your deck afterwards. So you can search for various things, which I'll show you in a minute when we get to them. Useful cards to start off with. You get 4 copies of Eevee, 3 copies of Eevee, with the Tackle and Lunge, and this allows you to set up your Vaporeon, of which you get 2. Each of your Stage 1 Pokemon in play is now a Water Pokemon in addition to its existing types, and it's got the 70 damage Hydro Splash. So Vaporeon's a very good evolution for the deck. It's nice to turn all of your Steel types into Water types, especially as it helps you get around those pesky resistances. So Meowth, sadly it doesn't actually get its plus 20 damage for having Darkness Energy, because there's none in the deck. But it helps you get out your Persian. And Persian has got Fake Out, which can paralyse your opponent's Pokemon, 50% chance, and Ambush. If you get heads, it does 30 more damage. So that's quite a fast 70 damage attack. Can paralyse the opponent. You get 2 of them in the deck. So that is your Pokemon. That's your Pokemon for the deck. So, interesting selection there. I really quite like having the Regis in the deck. Gyarados feels a little bit out of place, but some more Magikarp in the deck and he'd feel right at home, I imagine. Then we can move on to our items. So you have a Healing Scarf, which is a Pokemon tool. Whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to the Pokemon that this card is attached to, you heal 20 damage from it. So really nice when used with the very, very high energy costed Metagross or with the Regis, because it just lets you heal up some damage and set them up. So also searchable by Relicanth. You get 2 of them, and I think it's very good for the deck. You get 1 copy of Switch, which is always useful. Switching 1 active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. Free Retreat's always nice. Lucky Helmet also can be easily searched by Relicanth, and it lets you draw cards every time your Pokemon takes damage. So especially nice combo with the Healing Scarf, especially with the high attack, with the high health minions in this particular deck. You get a Level Ball. You get an Escape Rope for the Free Retreat. Your opponent also gets it, but alas. So each player switches with one of their bench Pokemons. Your opponent goes first. And then you get 2 Professor's Letters, always useful for searching the energy, especially given the more mixed nature of this deck. It's very nice to be able to search your water energy and your steel energy quickly. So you get a Pokemon Center Lady for your excellent healing. Really quite nice. 60. A 60 heal is over half the health of pretty much everything in this deck, so quite strong. You get a copy of Wally, which searches your deck for a evolving card. Very useful. There's quite a few evolving Pokemon in this, and so Wally really works very nicely for that. You get 1 copy of Ace Trainer, and you get 2 Tierno to allow you to easily draw 3 cards. So you actually get 1 fewer supporter and 1 more item in this deck, but because the Stone Heart deck has got the Vileplume, which reduces item use, and this has got all of the tool searching cards in Relicanth, that actually suits the deck very nicely. You also get a whole bunch of Steel Energy, and you get more Water Energy. You get 8. So a nice mix there. So out of the 2, Iron Tide is much more balanced between the 2 elements that it actually uses. I personally prefer Iron Tide. It's got a playstyle I like a little bit more, but that doesn't mean to say that Stoneheart isn't very good. Stoneheart has got some really nice paralyzing special effect type moves in it. Loads of stuff that you can do with it. These are really nice bases to go off. Buy a few packs of Ancient Origins and see what you can get. They're both very supported in the actual set. So that's been our deck opening. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please comment and tell me how fun it would have been to watch me sorting the decks below. And everything that you've seen here is available for purchase on bigorbitgames.co.uk. So I'm out.